ask you, actually. That's a good point. You guys recently aped into the raffle, the Aavegtochi raffle.
Yes, sir.
How did that turn out for you guys?
Um, uh, I'd like to say, according to the calculators, we are on par. Um, the kind of the goal for me, it was really hard because I had to like fight my like two like my left angel and the right devil, and it's like, well, I want like a godlike and a mythical, and I'm like playing this game because I really like it, but then on the other shoulder, it's like, well, you got all these gotchis and you're making a gamers guild and like you really need to dress them. So it definitely skewed like to the left in terms of like just trying to go for quantity, and that actually worked out well. We were on par for a common, uncommon, rare, and legendary, but then we whiffed it on what I did for mythical and godlike, which that was just the gambler in me. But I would have, in retrospect, loved to have just like put that into all the other ones. But we got a lot of items. We got like between like common and uncommon, like I want to say 140 items or so, 150 maybe. And a lot of weapons and a lot of. I was really happy with the amount of uncommon weapons we got. We got a bunch of axes and a bunch of longbows, and then the legendary was pretty awesome because we ended up with 4 sus butterflies, which I'm really excited about because I just feel like it's really becoming like a zeitgeisty kind of cultural piece in Aavegtochi where like people are focusing on it, and like I think even newbies will like know about it when they come in, and it just looks so cool.
I really like the sus butterfly. That's really grown on me. Like I like the Ruffles too, but the sus butterfly has its own kind of persona, like you're saying. And winning 4 of them is like no small feat.
That was pretty crazy. I was like, the odds got to be pretty kind of weird on that because I mean, there's only 100 of them, I think. So that was the best outcome. Like I was most excited about that, and it really kind of made up for losing on the myth because I thought I would get at least one mythical, and that was like more to set up a trade because I was like, oh well, if I can just dump a mythical for 5,000-6,000 ghosts, I can go buy whatever 10 gotchis because I'm all about gotchis right now, and I still think that that's where it's at least for our mission and what we're trying to accomplish. I feel like we can never have enough gotchis.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think everybody has that same problem.
Yeah, it's like you always think back in retrospect, and you're like, man, I wish I would have bought more. So, how many legendary tickets did you have to enter to get those to get your sus butterflies wearables?
So I entered 790 legendary tickets, and I ended up with those 4 sus butterflies and 1 pair of the earrings.
So you were the MFers that stole my sus butterflies, huh?
I guess, dude. My bad. Like it saved my role because I whiffed it hard on like mythicals and godlike. So
Yeah, I'm still jealous. If you're open to any trades, let me know. I will trade gotchis, realm parcels, and other wearables. I need 1 sus butterfly to complete my set.
that's good to know. I mean, yeah, Master Yang was like, dude, this one had a crazy amount, and I'm like, nah, I think I'm gonna hold on to these. But dude, like, I'm always willing to hear any trades out if they make sense. But yeah, it was quite a score with 4. I saw 1, and then I was like, looked a little further, and I was like, oh, whoa, like, because I mean, we were just talking before you stuck in here in No Future about how awesome and like the sus is just gonna, we think that it's gonna be such a big iconic kind of thing even moving forward.
Are there any sus butterflies on the market right now?
There are some around 1,800, 1,850 ghost, which is not bad. But now I'm looking at my main gotchi, which I just posted about because it's like a top 450, top 460 gotchi. And like even if I get the sus butterfly, it's probably not the best pet for this gotchi because this gotchi has like a 15 for aggression, so it actually would work against the stats. It would give me a BRS boost, but it would work against the stats for this one gotchi.
That's the worst. Like when you have items that you want to use and like it goes against your stats, it's like, oh god.
Yeah, I mean, I could do the whole set. Like if I do the whole set, the boost should like once they give us the trade boost for having the whole set, it should offset some of that the score being dropped. But I don't know. I guess I have to wait.
Yeah, I mean like at 15, like I mean maybe it's I think every gotchi will have like 1 or 2 throwaway stats that it's like, hey, it is what it is. And I think it's also going to depend a lot on like what the item function is in the game. That could change everything. Like if they start like introducing like, oh, this item does this and this item is going to do that, then it might completely outweigh whatever the -4 on the or well in your case +4, so it would move you like in the opposite direction. Like it might even negate that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
totally.
Evan and I were talking that like what's crazy about like the pets on there's only like 3,000 of them, give or take. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a pretty small supply. But the raffles can go either way. I hope everybody won at least something to kind of make up for their initial commitment. Like I personally, I put in 50 tickets, 50 uncommons, 50 some odd rares, and I ended up winning 2 uncommon items, so I was okay with that. But the reason we're here today, and I'm super excited to get into this, is we're all here today. Well, we're going to spend at least the first hour. I want to really go into like your guild. You guys are the founders of the 8-Bit GG Guild, the 8-Bit Gamers Guild, and I kind of want to know, where did this? Well, we can start with, maybe a little bit from like where you guys came from, like your background, where you came from, and then what was your initial appeal to start an Aavegtochi Guild?
Sure. I'll take that, and I'll kind of speak towards Master Yang's kind of background, because actually we're really good friends for a really long time that ended up being business partners, and we're blessed enough, lucky enough to discover cryptocurrency early on back in 2013. And for me, it was just right, like most people, right away I was like, nah, this is gonna get shut down by the government. I was super skeptical, and then I started doing my research, and I was like, whoa, like this is something that I need to go deeper into. And I told Master Yang we're running another more traditional style business, and I was like, dude, I look into this, cover things for me for a bit. I'm still gonna be in the office, but I'm gonna like put my time into figuring out cryptocurrency, because I think as entrepreneurs, it's gonna have a big impact on everything we do. And sure enough, man, I fell down the rabbit hole, dragged them down with me, and we've done. We have had different types of startups in different sectors of the space, and we have one going on now. And I just feel really blessed to have discovered it and be able to work in crypto and just do all this kind of stuff all day, every day. We, like most people that founded early on, found our way in Bitcoin, and like most Bitcoiners at the time, when altcoins started to hit the scene, we were very, very skeptical, almost tribalistic. And, a lot of people talk their bag, and that's where their heart is. And it kind of, unfortunately, starts to build blinders where, if you were open-minded enough to get into Bitcoin early on, you would think like, hey, you have an open mind towards everything. But kind of went through our Bitcoin maximalist phase, and we're always into different types of applications of cryptocurrency, like, in the closet, for lack of a better expression, and kind of kept tabs on different altcoins and this and that. Started dabbling in with NFTs with Spells of Genesis, but I think it's 2015, I want to say, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit later, plus or minus a year. And NFTs were like not even really a thing. And when this kind of surge happened in the last 12 to 24 months, really in the past 12 months, really in the past 6 months, we were really busy with our startup, but we kept having all these buddies that we got into crypto, like, oh my God, I just like took 10 ETH and flipped it to 150. Like, what? You can only ignore that for so long. And we started to pay attention to the space and really realize like, whoa, like there's a lot of scammy components to this. There's going to be grifters like there is in anything, but this seems to be attracting a new cohort of people that are interested in these technologies, but not for the same kind of reasons that we got into, which was like sovereignty, inflation resistant or completely negated currency where it can't be just inflated at the whims of a group of individuals, and censorship resistance and confiscation resistance. Like that was all very appealing to me and where I was at mentally at the time. But NFTs are different. Like people are coming in and they're like, oh, I want to play this game, or I really like this art, and the cryptocurrency is kind of fading into the background. And to me, that was just stunning and breathtaking, because it was like, wow, like these people are using MetaMask and they're learning how to store a seed and do all this stuff, but they're not even thinking about it. Like they're not focused on that part of it. They're just trying to like get to where they're going to be trying to go. But in the meantime, they're picking up all these skills. And that's about the time that, we started getting pretty heavy. Like we've always had a bunch of historicals that, believe it or not, and I'll let Master Yang speak to that in a bit, but he's held some NFTs since like the early days that he was upside down for 5 years pretty much, and now are worth, these crazy sums. But when we kind of started really deploying capital into NFTs, kind of caught near the top, August, September, October. And around then I think it was around August or July, I found Aavegtochi. And it just spoke to me right away, especially for some of the things that I've been speaking towards, which is like, I love teaching people about cryptocurrency. I love empowering people with cryptocurrency, and NFTs are teaching people how to use cryptocurrencies. And Aavegtochi was like that on steroids, because of the whole kind of like DeFi aspect, and you're putting some cryptocurrency in your Aavegtochi to bring them to life, and that's earning interest. And I was like, man, just like how I felt with Bitcoin, some of those warm and fuzzies where I was like, I got to go deeper, kept happening with Aavegtochi. And before we knew it, we're in a pretty sizable, 6-figure investment. And it was like, oh, okay, well, now my money's in here, so let me just go poke around in the community and see what's going on. And sure enough, like a lot of you guys in here know, it's great. And I was greeted with a bunch by really smart people that actually ended up being people that were in cryptocurrency or understood the power of cryptocurrency. So that was really dope, and just had kind of like all these different aspects of it. And then the whole guild thing came up, and Master Yang and I were like, well, this is interesting because it's like a DAO on training wheels. This is a way to organize people, and I've built a lot of products in my life that have had 100,000 plus users, made tons of money. I always built the product, and you kind of build towards a user, and you hope that user's there and you find them and you get that product market fit. But with this, it's different. It's like challenging to say, hey, build community first and then, work towards what that product is. And I found that really intellectually challenging, and just as an entrepreneur, like really awesome. And so we're like, hey, how do we formalize this? And then boom, right around the same time, kind of this concept of guilds started getting more organized in Aavegtochi. And we're like, hey, let's do something about this. Like, let's empower other people to get involved and benefit from our investment, and at the same time enhance our investment, right? Because in life, you know how it is. Like, you can do so much more with a group of people sometimes than an individual. So it's been super dope. And really the whole point of 8-Bit GG is we're a guild and want to be a guild of makers, programmers, creators, artists that really love Aavegtochi, love this ecosystem, love playing the game. And by getting this core group of people together, I believe that we can foster and mentor another group of people, which are the people that are not in this spaces, the people that don't know anything about Aavegtochi, maybe don't know anything about cryptocurrency, but are interested, heard about that they can make some money, P2E, the Aavegtochi's cute. And really, we want to be a guild that allows these creators, these artists, these devs, these great gameplay people, strategists, Gotchi economists, all these cool things that are going to kind of form around this ecosystem, and put them in a position to teach, empower others, and in turn benefit, right? So we're really just a guild about having fun, making things in Aavegtochi, playing the game, and hopefully that in turn leads to success for everybody that's involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Master, you hit on a lot of the background and the points and so forth. But speaking again to like the purpose of the guild and kind of why we started it, it's one to to attract other like-minded individuals who are passionate about wanting to get more involved with the game. I found a little bit of a learning curve at first. When I found out about Aavegtochi, Master Yin took to it a little bit quicker, but for me, it's a little bit overwhelming at first. At least back in like July, August. You have to, I read this giant white paper. There's a lot of lore and background story with respect to it. And obviously, like right away, I realized, wow, this is pretty deep. And, there's some really deep thinking going on here. So that's kind of what intrigued me about it, because when you show up to NFT Landia, you have all these PFPs that are being minted out, 10K PFPs, and like, everybody's flipping and trying to make money. And, there's some community building and so forth. But then subsequently, I see this kind of like white paper, and it's talking about just, wow, everything's on chain, and these are all tokens, ERC, 721 tokens or whatever it may be. And I'm like, okay, this is a little bit different, and there's more meaning behind this. So let's just kind of like peek behind the curtain. And luckily we showed up just in time for Han 2. And that was like a really big deal because it allowed us to kind of like say, okay, we missed Han 1, but here comes Han 2. Like, let's go ahead and get some of our burst gotchis. And we just started aping thereafter. And obviously if you aped in anything in the space, you immediately start getting much more involved than you were before. The 8-Bit Gamers Guild was kind of like, okay, hey, for those who want to get involved, or for those who, are trying to bring their skill sets into this game, like this may be a good place to stop by. It's nothing like that's going to be like this like sweatshop factory where everybody's like sewing soccer balls and like, creating, tennis shoes. And then you also have to play Aavegtochi 12 hours a day if you want to be in this guild. That's not what this is about. This is kind of really like just, hey, look, if you want to like get with some like-minded individuals, joke around, like, we can ship posts, throw some memes, but more importantly, like we want you to find like where your skill set can be best applied in this game. And then how can we empower you to, build within the game or create content about the game? How can we incentivize that behavior? And then, where can 8-Bit like Gamers Guild kind of fit into the picture? Because the more resources we can pull from the things we build on it, the more that we can attract even more like-minded individuals and nurture that talent. And that's kind of like, again, the main goal out of it. So we move a little bit probably slower maybe than some guilds. I don't know. I'm not involved in everything, and probably no future and Hefe can speak to that better since they've interviewed a bunch of different, representatives from different guilds. And there's some big guilds coming into the space and huge DAOs that are heavily funded, et cetera. But, there's not a lot of native Aavegtochi guilds, so there's something very special when you like go look at Portal Mages and they're like what they're doing over there. There's something really special about some of the native Aavegtochi guilds. And that's what like 8-Bit Gamers Guild is. We're a native, like from the ground floor up Aavegtochi guild. We didn't come from a previous game into Aavegtochi and we're like, hey, we're going to bring an army into this. What can you give us? And we'll leverage our economies of scale. this is going to be, I think, more like, I think our guild is more like tailored towards the misfits and kind of like contrarians and deep thinkers about the space and really enthusiasts that like, are here for the long haul and want to really take the game to the next level. And we see those individuals as the people who are ultimately going to really make a massive impact on the Gotchiverse economy. And I think that long-term strategy, even in the short term, it doesn't look like much is going on. The long term, I think, is going to be where like we rise and shine as a guild and as a cohesive kind of unit of like-minded people. And I think that's kind of like the direction we're heading. And I wanted to kind of add that context to what Master Yin was saying, because it's like, the nuance and the little things are very important when going into this game. It's not like just you're on your own. You're going to have to work with people. And so in order for that to happen, as much as we love to remove trust, like a guild that's a little bit more, in my opinion, a little bit smaller, a little bit more quality over quantity approach driven, I think is going to be just highly underestimated in the short term. But we're going to have our day in the long term, and that's kind of how I look at it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, you guys. And actually, there's a few things that were said that I wanna really highlight. The first one being how you, Master Yin, had said, your mindset with the guilds, with how you can achieve success in Aavegtochi was that community first approach with building out a guild and organizing people in a way where you're empowering those people, and you're going to create a group, I think, of core members or evangelists for your project, for your guild, that are going to create the base. And then it's almost like a process of osmosis, right? Where you're diffusing out from the core community, and you have a bunch of like, almost like foot soldiers, right? That know everything about your guild, they know everything about the game, and they know how this could benefit you. In fact, if they don't tell you, they're doing a disservice to you, and that's how these people feel, right? They're very passionate. Like myself, like I don't shut up about Aavegtochi when I'm around people, and some people get really interested, and some people are like, oh, dude, like, talk about something else. But I can't stop talking about it because I'm passionate about the project. And it's because, I have skin in the game. I've invested my own time in the game, and I've invested my own money in the game. And that's forced me to understand this space. I'm fairly new to the space, but, you have people from all different backgrounds coming in here being like, I need to understand this because I could see how it could benefit me. I could see how it could empower other people. So I think, a question I could ask you guys is, what are, you're just started this guild, right? What are some of the common goals you have for the guild starting out now, in order to create this community that you're saying of kind of like this 8-bit, almost like 8-bit evangelists, right?
Yeah, I mean, you put it well. And right now, the people that want to be in an Aavegtochi guild and the people that are here and around Aavegtochi right now, there's no game. Like the game is there. Like I can't. That's unfair for me to say, because trading on the bazaar, participating in rarity farming, dressing your Gotchi, petting your Gotchi, that is the game. Like, but the gameplay per se, like the Gotchiverse, what people are here for, is not here yet. So what we do have is a really hardcore, passionate group of individuals that have been here, many of us, for a year, right? Not me, but I know a lot of people were here from the start, and some of them, were part of the initial mint of Gotchis, and I know there used to be like a store and all these different things. So I want to foster these relationships between this core group of people. And like Master Yang said, we want to figure out what people are good at, because like not everyone's going to be a coder. Some people are going to be great at written content. Others are going to be great at video content. Others are going to be great at teaching people how to play the game, being a mentor. And the way I see it is we're creating almost like an elite group of Sherpas for the next wave of people, hopefully, which are not like us, right? Which were not people that were trying to get into the game before it was out, because they understood DeFi and PDE gaming, and this was an investment, and they're going to manage it like an investment. Like that's not who's going to be the what I believe, probably, let's say there's 2,000, 3,000 core people, right? I mean, I think the stress tests get 500-600 people max participation, and it's the people that I see around. So let's say 2,000 to 3,000 is generous. Who are going to be the other? There's 25,000 Aavegtochis, right? 17,000 or 18,000 portals ripped. Who are going to be the other 15, 20,000 players, right? They're not going to be like us. They may end up like us, but they're not going to be like us. We got to bring them in. And so this guild is about giving people the opportunity and enabling the core people that are good at all these things and good at attracting players, maybe at making art, maybe at understanding Gotchi economics, and then being there and having them be, mentor / Sherpa to a new wave of players who are just here to P to E, to play in this cool universe, to pick up Alchemica. Now, all the information that we've synthesized since then is super valuable, but they can't take that all at once. That's not who's going to come play this game, right? But it's our job, once they're here, to teach them about everything that we've learned in the past year that make us going to be great at the game, and to empower them to be good players. And I think that the guilds that can do that are going to foster some really long-term Aavegtochi players. And I want to figure out a way, and we have a lot of ideas on the board right now, from a token to everything in between. I want to figure out how to incentivize people to bring in newbies, to bring in people that are not in our world into this world, right? And give them a way to benefit off that. I don't want to throw it out and say a referral program or this or that, but the idea, once it's kind of refined and we can be open about it, in the end is the same thing, right? Like, hey, why should you go out into the real world? You're doing it anyways, right? But if you do get people in here and you do get them to play the guild's gotchis, which would sit there otherwise potentially, right? Especially in the early days, I don't want gotchis sitting. And I'm not completely convinced that when the game launches, there's going to be a horde of 15,000 people ready to rent gotchis. So I want to do something about it. And I know others in this chat do too. And we want to be a place to organize some of those thoughts and ideas. And speaking more particularly, the goals of the guild, if I had to line them out, are: one, bring more people into Aavegtochi from other communities, from not crypto, right? From crypto, but other communities in crypto, right? And then I want to figure out how all of us as a team can drive revenue, and ideally, potentially sharing the rewards, right? Through many other mechanisms and systems. And it's really interesting because I've had some experience in guilds on WoW Classic and being a part of these things, and I see people put in so much time and so much effort, and there's never really been a way to get some of that back, right? And I really want to crack that egg, because I think that has bigger implications for all of P2E, and just the retention rates of some of these games, which I know matter to the game makers. And as somebody that's an investor and a builder, and I want to build things and products and suites and cool things for all these ecosystems, maybe things that bind them together, going through this has been so awesome and good for me. And I was telling Hefe the other day, quite frankly, I just enjoy it. This is fun. It's fun talking with you guys, figuring out Aavegtochi, kind of trying to position ourselves accordingly, looking for that alpha, being part of the raffle, being part of what I believe is something that's unique, fresh, and highly innovative. And we're really on the edge of things. And so Aavegtochi is just becoming a place to organize these thoughts, ideas, and these people so that we can hit harder. Because I've really seen the power more than ever in the NFT space of 1,000 people, organizing around ideas or a common goal and then hitting. It actually hits pretty damn hard. And that's what I want to do. I want to make a great place for these people to get together and just kick ass in Aavegtochi. And, hopefully that trickles into kicking ass in real life too.
Yeah, and just to again add some more context to what Master Ian said. The game is not launched yet. Everybody here that's already been kind of in it already knows that. And so things are constantly in a state of flux. However, they are getting more ironed out over time, and especially with some of the testing that's been done recently. It's starting to help us conceptualize a little bit more as they leak more and more information to all of us. But that's kind of why it's kind of like a slow approach to reaching our goals of, again, bringing more people into the game, getting them more interested in the game of Aavegtochi, and then empowering those people and their skill sets. So in order to hit those goals, we're trying different things out that again we feel are very important, especially this is part of the NFT space and metaverse, et cetera. But one way we're doing that is through art and NFTs. Obviously, using the power of NFTs is extremely important. And I don't know if who saw what today, but today we launched Pepagotchi. And when I say launched, this is a fake rare, or this is kind of from the series or project called Fake Rare, which is like a continuation of the Rare Pepe project. It's like a / derivative continuation. And there's some big artists that have been doing cards for Fake Rare, like Seer Light, Grant Yun, Robness is going to be doing a Fake Rare soon, and a bunch of other artists, both OG Rare Pepe artists and new really sought after NFT artists that are from modern NFT culture. And we submitted our own Fake Rare called Pepagotchi. And what this was basically we took Rare Pepe and kind of combined it with an Aavegtochi and, put some music embedded into the NFT. And the whole goal was to bring the Fake Rare and Rare Pepe community and make them aware more about what's going on in Aavegtochi, why this game's important, spark some interest up into the Aavegtochi community. And at the same time, bring the Aavegtochi community more into the Fake Rare community and Rare Pepe communities. I think that there's a lot of people on both sides that can find interest in each other's communities. And one way to easily have done that was a collaborative NFT between both communities. So Master Ian and I put that out. It officially was released today, and we're coming up with a proper distribution mechanism for how we're going to distribute the Aavegtochi. But we expect this to be very limited in quantity, probably somewhere around 50 for the Aavegtochi community and probably 50 for the Fake Rare community, give or take. And ultimately, once they're gone, they're gone. You'll have to get them on secondary or wherever else, maybe OTC trades or peer-to-peer swaps, whatever. but they're going to give players in the Aavegtochi realm, certain benefits, and there's going to be integrations with that NFT. And over time, we want to build as much utility and value in that NFT as possible to benefit the early adopters and holders of this card. And the longer you hold it, the more benefits there will be. So it's going to be one of those things we can do airdrops from the guild to NFT holders, etc. But again, the primary purpose initially was to make two communities who are not that necessarily aware of each other find out a little bit more and spark some interest there between, again, bringing more people into the game. That's part of the process. Is like, we got to get more bodies in here and more quality bodies, not just anybody, but more quality bodies. So it's very important. So art is one way we're doing that, and other creative things that we're looking into, such as, music, etc. There's going to be a lot of opportunity, I feel like, to use the power of NFT culture and art to get more and more interest into this game. Memes are going to be extremely important for growing the Aavegtochi user base, for growing our guild. So we want to bring more and more meme lords into the community. We want to incentivize that, which is why the creation eventually of a token for our guild is going to be very important for these economic incentives. So I can go on and on about this all day, but I wanted just to add to Master Yin, and he stated our goals and so forth. But again, some other ways that we're already doing this, and other things we have planned that are not yet announced, are little things that actually make a big impact over time, in order to not only grow the guild but also grow the interest in the game as a whole. Because without more people finding out about this game, it'll stay kind of like an autistic nerd type of P2E game, and I think everybody here doesn't want that. We want to more exposure from different sectors of the NFT communities, and we want like Aavegtochi to proliferate, and the memes from Aavegtochi to proliferate, because it's such a memeable game. So yeah.
Did we lose Hefe?
Oh, we might have.
Okay, I'm still here, but just as a warning.
Like, well, what kind of value can we provide guildies? And I started Google Docs, and like every week I would hit it and I'll come back and be like, no, that's no good. No, I thought of this. And that's manifested into 4 levels of membership for our guild, which the first is the Keck Lords. And the Keck Lords is the inner circle, and the people that kind of want to participate in growing the guild and have the most benefit from their time in growing the guild. And it includes a bunch of awesome stuff, one of which is the Gotchi. So like Master Yang was stating, the Gotchi will be distributed to the rare Pepe community via counterparty through a dispenser, and that will go for X price. That will be much higher than what the membership for Keck Lord will cost. Which, when I say membership, essentially we're just doing a fundraiser to get the guild treasury funded and start being able to have something to work with in terms of putting the resources in the hands of the right people to kind of drive those main goals of the guild, which was generate rev and also bring in new players. And so some other things that you get and that I came up with, and again, like the thing with all this too is nobody really knows all of the meta of the game and how things are going to work, and more importantly, the mechanics. So a lot of this stuff I can only kind of like speak to in terms of what I think we're going to be able to provide. But Keck Lords, we've come up with great stuff. First, you're going to get a Gotchi, which we issued 500, but there's going to be substantially less. I'm not going to speak to the exact burn. Master Yang is a rare Pepe master, so I'm going to let him apply his epic knowledge to like what's the right amount. But 50 are set aside particularly for the initial Keck Lords of the 8-bit GG. We're going to have many NFTs in the guild. So we have a guild card NFT, and this guild card NFT will go to any guild member, and that guild card NFT is actually what's going to be used to identify you as a guild member of the 8-bit GG, which lets us do a lot of other really fun stuff, like the benefit of having petting included for life for Keck Lord, right? As long as you're a guild member. So included in that Keck Lord, you're going to get free petting for the life of your Aavegtochi, hopefully as long as you're an 8-bit GG member until, the sun burns out, right? Came up with essentially things in and around renting gotchis, because we feel like there's just going to be such a big part of the game. So things like 0 upfront gotchi rental fees. We think that we're going to be able to come up with a pretty innovative system that allows us to allow people to find users for the guild's gotchis and, benefit from that in a split. So Keck Lords would get the best splits. Maybe you have some gotchis that you need to rent and you want to rent them to other guild members, and you would get a preferred rate for being able to do that. And then there's this notion of lands. The guild has over 100 parcels that have been bonded to the guild. And right now, I can't speak too much to that because I don't know how the permissioning system is going to work in the game and the mechanics in around who you can let into your land and what that means and what happens if they collect alchemica on your land. Can you set up a split? All that stuff, but rest assured that the Keck Lords will have the best and strongest split or benefit. I think it's interesting because, just to speak on this point, some guilds are already like, oh, no, you get to harvest on guild lands for life. You have to pay like 0.2 ETH. Like, I don't know how anybody's figuring this stuff out without the game being out and without solid information on, how much alchemica one person's going to be able to make. Like, there's a lot of like speculation, but I feel like it's premature to hand over life rights and this and that. And so I want to be like really transparent, and I want to set goals that I think that we can provide for members that are realistic and not have to like, renegotiate after somebody's become a member. We feel that we're going to have an armory for the guild where you'll be able to come and rent out items that you may not want to buy. I think this game's going to be perhaps it's not the right word, but the word that comes to mind is like transient in some of the tasks where like you may be needing a Gotchi just for a task. You may be needing a certain item just for a task. And what better way than come to your guild and be like, hey, I'm a member. I get prio on, this, and I get the best rate for borrowing the Gotchis that I need. Hey, I need this Gotchi that's my Gotchis. I have 4 of them. It's $10,000 worth of Gotchis, but I don't really particularly have a speed Gotchi, right? And I want to borrow the guild speed Gotchi. What does that mean? What does that imply? Why should one person get priority over another? What kind of splits? What kind of rates? So we think that this is all going to be wrapped in and managed with the membership. So in addition to that, we're also going to be issuing an aping token, and the Keck Lords would, get essentially a voucher that would allot them, and the tokenomics are being figured out. But we see aping token as a way to reward guild members and tie them to some of the production and some of the assets of the guild. And so you'll get the biggest amount of that. And I can go on and on. Custom guild RPC, the most important, so it being a Keck Lord, you're also going to be in the inner part of the community, so full access to all chats. You're going to be eligible for special roles, and more importantly, a bounty board where people can perform tasks for the guild and earn ghost in lieu of aping until aping token becomes a thing. Because I want people to be able to, look at a list of things that need to be done for the guild, and I want them to be paid for their time and, effort. It may not be what you might go fetch if you're a programmer listening to this, like for your hourly rate, on in a hot market and you got DeFi skills, but it'll be something, and certainly it'll get figured out, right? Because like Master Yang said, we really want to make this about quality, not necessarily quantity, especially in the initial membership and the initial inception. So all these things are laid out super easy because if, it's almost like too many, honestly. Looking at it now, I have to like cut back on that because most people are probably going to want to read through it, but it's all nice and clear and transparent under the membership tab in our Discord that you can get to by visiting 8bitgg.com. That's 8bitgg.com. You just go there, you hit join, you'll see a link straight into the Discord, and then there you'll see a memberships tab, and you'll see all the things. So the Keck Lords is one. That's kind of the highest level membership. Then we have the Alpha Nobles, which retain some of the benefits of the Keck Lord, but much less. And then we have some free memberships, which is Frens, which we have so many, and they're going to be able to mint a free NFT that'll get airdrops like 8bitgg and other cool things we come up with in the future. And then, for lack of a better name for now, the FOMO scholars are that part of the guild that I spoke to early on, where it's really people that are not in Aavegtochi and want to come. Maybe it's an in real life friend of a guild member. Maybe it's someone that's never touched crypto, and they're coming to 8bitgg to not only rent a Gotchi, but get a little bit more, some mentorship, some instruction to make them the best player that they could be, which in turn gets them the most money and generates the most production for the guild, and everybody's happy. And so we kind of want to take it a little step further. I don't know how any of this stuff is going to go up against, what it's like on the open market when there's a lot of players who are renting Gotchis, but I don't want to wait for that. I don't want to wait for that to get figured out. Instead, I want to inspire and bring people into the game and into the guild and let them go ahead and get all the benefits of being a guild member, which include access to tons of Gotchis and tons of land and tons of people telling you, hey, like this is the meta, this is the mechanic, this is the good thing to do, this is the bad thing to do. And then, kick them out the door and let them figure out the rest for themselves, but be there for them when they get stuck or they're unsure. I mean, I have so many in real life friends in Aavegtochi right now, I'd say at least 10 of them. And I talk to them about Aavegtochi every day, especially the ones that are first coming in. Should I buy this Gotchi? Should I not? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What should I do about the raffle, right? And that's why Aavegtochi guilds are so great, because I think a lot of people are getting answers to these questions in the guilds. But I want to take it a step further. And after we empower the people and they learn, I want to give them an ability to bring in more people and empower those people and benefit off that too. So definitely check out the membership levels. The Keck Lords is a 200 Ghost donation. You can donate more. You'll get subsequently more Aavegtochi tokens in your voucher. The Alpha Nobles is a 25 Ghost donation. The Frens is free and the FOMO Scholars is free, but application based. So we have a whitelist going on right now. Inside the Discord, you can either sign up for the Keck Lord or the Alpha Noble, and then hopefully some point next week or relatively soon, you'll be able to actually go to apegg.com, connect your MetaMask, authorize a Ghost spend, buy the membership, receive the NFT, and be an official member. And the last thing I'd like to mention about all this is that we've decided to actually attach a raffle to this. So if you go in the Discord, you'll also see the prizes, which there's 10 different prizes, somewhere around 1,000 ghosts, give or take, of value. And I'm adding on to it constantly because I have some milestones that I haven't announced yet. But if we do a full sellout, we're going to be giving away a spacious parcel as well. So that should up the ante significantly. So for all you Degans out there, at very minimum, jump into the 25 ghost donation because there's probably a good chance you're going to at least get your 25 ghosts back.
That's great. That's wonderful. And I really like how you said, I think you said it perfectly earlier, how you ideally want to start out with really passionate people who want skin in the game and then become this guild that not only does things for people, but also empowers people to do things for themselves. And I think that's really, really powerful stuff right there. And so I guess for those people who, to attract some players in a low-cost way where, let's say their only risk is their time, but they get to participate and create, are you going to have some options available for those people as well? Because I know you have a vast array of Aavegtochis. Like, how many Aavegtochis does 8BitGG have? And what do you plan to do with those?
So that's a great question. First of all, I think that mentioning on the bounty board a bit, and like, again, guys, I'm building some of this stuff real time, so I get a lot of inspiration from things like this and having these conversations. But there'll probably be a bounty board specific for guild members that are in the paid membership, and then just a general bounty board for everyone, because there are things that I want to, incentivize to be created that anybody that doesn't even play Aavegtochi but has put in the time or wants to kind of figure it out can kind of contribute. And for people that don't want to risk anything in terms of money, but they just are willing to put in their time, there's the FOMO Scholars, which all you got to do is fill out an application. Ideally, somebody in the guild referred you, and you come into this program where you may not have the best split, but you're in, and your only thing you're risking is your time, and you'll receive mentorship. And ideally, I think the goal is for those people to slowly build up to buying their own Aavegtochi. That would be my goal. That's what I would love to see happen, and permanently expand the player base, opposed to just like getting someone in, making a quick buck and then those people leaving. So that's what kind of the FOMO Scholar is about. And then friends can just come and have access to a bounty board where they can make some ghosts or a BitGG token in the future when we get all the tokenomics and all that figured out and sorted. The other thing that I didn't really mention is that both the membership levels will have some voting rights in the DAO. And we have set up a Geonosis multi-sig. We've done a lot of that work. We're importing some contracts that we wrote because we kind of have gone into this pattern, unfortunately, because I guess for lack of time, but nobody's really looked fully through all the Geonosis stocks. So we're like kind of building things like the way we know how to build them and, using Zeppelin contracts and this and that. And we're going to be moving stuff over to there. But really, that multi-sig is really to hold the treasury, which I think is an important point to make for everybody that's listening and anybody that really wants to join, is that, we did take the time and set up a 4 of 7. And, there's a lot of things in place to make sure that any money that is collected and put to use is not lost. And the main goal right now is just to kickstart this thing, to jumpstart it. It could evolve into something that I'm not even postulating about right now. And I'm open to that. And I want everybody to be part of that journey as well. And, I get constant daily inspiration from the people in the chat and the personal chats that I have with people on the side. So, we're just going to keep chipping away at it. And I invite anybody in here, if they have suggestions or questions, like just reach out and DM.
Yeah. Go ahead, Master Yang.
Yeah, just to add to that, again, thank you for laying all that out, Master Yin. And it's very difficult to do considering that there is so much that's still up in the air. But the main point is that we want to drive as much utility over time to holders of the NFT and to different members of the guild. And we want a place for everybody, depending on, what their involvement level is going to be and just how involved in the game they want to become. Initially, I was slow to involve myself in it. I wanted to look into it. I wanted to read a little bit more, and I think Master Yin kind of dived head first. So there's different people that, acclimate differently, and we want to kind of give them different slots for that level of acclimation. And I think it kind of just begins by, hey, join the Discord, This is ground floor level right now. And the other hangout session I think we all had, I believe it was last Sunday, I mentioned that these small little Twitter Spaces hangouts that we're all doing right now, don't take them for granted because they're going to be gone eventually pretty soon. We will be in 100 plus Twitter Space hangouts eventually. There is going to be a flurry of new people that will come from all over the world and from different backgrounds. And, it's going to be definitely kind of, some of you guys are OGs. I'm kind of like coming in the middle of this thing, Han 2. Some of you guys are Han 1 and before. So, each wave of new entrants into the space is going to kind of wash a little bit of that down. And, I think that it's best to embrace these waves of people because granted, there's always going to be people coming and going, but the ones that stick around, that's what the community is all about at 8BitGG. We want people to come in, hey, let's talk some shit. You don't even have to talk about Aavegtochi. Let's just kind of hang out, build a little bit of relationship, build that trust level a little bit between ourselves, drop alpha to each other when we have it, etc. And then subsequently, as the game begins and starts to mold itself and starts to grow and the economy starts to get bigger and bigger, that that network of trust that we all built is what's going to allow us to build the cool shit. It's what's going to allow us to, find better ways to reward the members of the guild. And it's just going to synergize the entire relationship and overall like what we're trying to do, which again is to bring more people to the game, nurture their skill sets, apply those skill sets into the areas where they fit best, and then find a way for that to kind of feedback loop into the guilds over time. So it's I just wanted to kind of add that a little bit more to Mastery. And there's just a lot up in the air right now. Get into the Discord, talk some shit, hang out at Hefe's Sunday chats, and No Futuristics Sunday chats. I think that's how I started learning was, Music City Gotchi Gang. Like, those were my first, that was my first foray into this is listening to No Future, on YouTube and on Spotify even. So I'd go on a 2-hour walk and go listen to like a 2 or even a 3-hour Music City Gotchi Gang, which, it's a lot for 3 hours, but it is what it is, it helped me understand, okay, like these are people that were here like really, really early. Like, how do they think about all these things? And honestly, I think we all obsessively think a little bit too much, to be quite honest. I think sometimes it's just like, guys, like, relax, but I think that's, I don't know about you guys, but this is the first game I've ever played. And I come from I even played my older brother's Atari, but like Sega Genesis, NES, PlayStation, 64, all of that. I've never had a game where like I spent like almost 6 months to 8 months talking about the game and like strategizing about it before the game even starts. It's just like ridiculous, So if that like to me, I remind myself of that. I'm like, I've never done it like this level of overthinking a game before the game's even begun. And I guess that's what's going to make this even more special is like, it's all like kind of up in the air and speculative, but then like in a couple months we'll be playing it and it'll just be like real. And I think it's going to be a little bit of a shock because it's like, oh wow, those old days of just like endlessly speculating over a game is like a niche little like kind of club with a bunch of other, like a small group of other individuals. Like that's gone now. And like now it's for real. And now competition's going to amp up. And now, all the other parts that kind of have been dormant about what's going to happen when this game begins, those are going to become very real and apparent very quickly. And that's why, like, that's when that network of trust of like that community building we all did early on is going to matter. Because as everybody hits the beach, or all the baby turtles come, they're hatching on the beach and they're trying to head towards the light, or they're trying to head towards the ocean, and everybody's pointing in their eyes a flashlight saying, oh no, the ocean's over here. Like, we will have already been here and we will have each other's back in order to make sure that, we can effectively make the most out of this game for whatever our goals, individual goals are, as well as the goals of the guild. So yeah,
I think Master Yang also speaks to the general innovation going on in Aavegtochi, which is like another flip in a model where I see NFTs creating brands and community before branching out into other products, and it just speaks volume. Obviously, when someone makes an investment in something, they're willing to have more patience and a long-term view, and I think that's so interesting. And the way Aavegtochi is accomplishing that, and they're doing very, very good job of information flow and community management, and these are like skills in a new era where it's like they're part of the success, not necessarily just like how badass a game looks, because a game is just a skin. So I'm really excited that they can keep people here for this long, that they can have this kind of retention. I would think that like the guy from Blizzard is like, excuse me, like you have how many people coming back to you every day for what? For paying like a blockchain to pet their Aavegtochi, right? And like I think that speaks to the power of the brand, and I'm really excited about that. And I see that, and I see people learning about DAOs and cryptocurrencies and without even realizing that they're doing it. And that is just another mind-blowing thing. So this is uncharted territory as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing in the world like Aavegtochi. like that's just a matter of fact. And I challenge someone to bring me something that's like Aavegtochi, and then likely they just copied Aavegtochi because, I've been around NFTs and I've seen cryptocurrency and I've seen many, many different projects, and I feel like I have the skills to evaluate the projects. And Aavegtochi really, I say it often, it hits different, and there's a long-term vision here. And what the game looks like and what it could look like and all that stuff is infantile in comparison to the importance of building a strong community and figuring out kind of some of the things that we're going through right now. And I think it's going to supercharge things. And again, was kind of part of some of the inspiration behind the guild is like to be ready to be there for all the other people that didn't go through this, so that they kind of realize what's going on, how deep it is, and appreciate it, and covet this awesome thing that we're also lucky to be a part of building and interacting with. And we have the team like on chats every week, and they're accessible and all this. It's really something special, and we want to bring more people in and catch them up in a way that's palatable as well, because it could be a big dump sometimes when you're bringing someone into Aavegtochi and it's like a lot to take in all at once. And so having some stewards that do that, and obviously Aavegtochi has great people like you, Hefe and No Futuristic, and you guys have been here and you guys have been ambassadors and you've been doing the dirty work for all this time and the hard work, and it's fun, but it's laborious. And now I think with guilds, that plus people like you guys, plus the DAOs and all this organization of people's ideas and people's efforts are really going to manifest into something just, again, one of a kind and very valuable, I think.
Yeah, you touched on some great points there. And actually, I'm excited for this new wave to come in here because it's going to be a little bit different than the previous waves of people we've had. See, I've heard from a few people now that got involved into Haunt 2, but they weren't involved before that. Like you guys included, I think the Gotchi brothers, they got involved around Haunt 2. A few other people who have risen up to be prominent people in our community very quickly because of their, because they already had some skin in the game in crypto, and the learning curve was perhaps not as steep. It wasn't as abstract of an idea to wrap your head around. So it was like, okay, Aavegtochi, like Master Yang, read the white paper, okay, talked to some people, and okay, I get it. I'm going to jump in. That was the last wave of people, and I feel like that was around Haunt 2, July, August, I think around there sometime. Now we're going to have a new wave of people coming in, right? And like you say, this wave of people, a certain percentage of them are going to be mainstream, a certain percentage of them are going to know very little about what a DAO is, and a certain percentage of them are going to know very little about how to engage with the play-to-earn gaming aspect of things. So how do you think, A, how do you think Aavegtochi could help those people? And then B, how do you think the guild could also play a role in helping those people kind of really lessen that learning curve to understand things a lot quicker?
So, I kind of have like two references of thought on this. One, good, simple content is key, and just keep pounding the drums with that. Really low cost, low friction renting of Aavegtochis, and kind of having people that have no idea what they're doing. They don't even see or understand the renting interface, giving them mentorship towards like, hey, like here's the guild's Gotchi and this is how it works and this and that. And then I think, which is kind of a little more challenging, I think there needs to be some in real life coordination around some of this stuff. So I'm really, searching deep on figuring out how to reach into other markets, South America, particularly. I'm Hispanic, I speak Spanish, and I think that there's certain communities in South America and in the Caribbean, very similar to like the Philippines, that attempting to build some of this stuff in person through like kind of satellites is an interesting strategy, because again, like there's only going to be so many people, in my opinion, that flow through the channel that we did. So at one point, I really plan to figure out how the guild can do some serious outreach through the guild members of touching people in real life, where it's just like, hey man, you can come make 50, 60 bucks, playing this on the side a day or whatever the number ends up being. And honestly, it'll probably be based on skill and how good you are at what you do and understand the game. And getting people, we always talk about how flat P2E gaming can really make the whole world. And the wages, we're from the United States, the wages here are not the same elsewhere. And not only the wages, but the jobs that people do. Some people, are born into lives that they have no choice, or worse, they have to do, extremely, laborious jobs or dangerous jobs. And finding those people in real life and figuring out the channels that they hang out with, I think that that's going to be a really big thing for guilds to do. And we'll differentiate our guild. And so again, Master Yang used the baby turtles hatching on the beach. Well, we want to be their guide and say like, hey, first, look, there is a beach, right? Like there's this place where you can like have opportunity and get to the ocean, right? Because that's not even a thing. What do you mean? I work on a cruise liner. I'm from the Philippines. I make minimum wage here, and this is just what I have to do. Well, no, there's this new world, PDA gaming. So beyond Aavegtochi, there's some definite content and outreach that is not specific to Aavegtochi, but more about this world that we're creating and this world that exists that 98% of the world has no idea that a P2E game is a thing that can make them cryptocurrency, right? Like PDA gaming itself is just having a birth moment. And so I think that we would do well to remember that and for sure make content and education around onboarding into cryptocurrency, around what is P2E gaming, and catch people up to that first, and then try our best to suck those people in from the web of trust of the guild. Because we have people in the guild from Malaysia, from the Philippines, from Venezuela, from the United States, from Canada, from all over, and like we all have like a couple people that we know in real life, or we all know somebody that's like maybe like in a funk and doesn't have a good job right now and just really doesn't know what to do. And there's a lot of people in the world where $30, $40, $50 a day is means a lot more than perhaps like somebody in the United States. And I want to go identify those markets. And once we build the infrastructure of like really great people that first of all, it has to be more than altruism, right? Like it can't just be because like they love Aavegtochi so much. Like in my opinion, that's just not going to last forever. But that there's like a good incentive for that guildie to mentor other people, and there will be a lot of like mental reward out of it. Like, wow, I'm really helping someone like change their life. But like, hey, like why shouldn't they also benefit in a monetary way? So figuring like all those little things out is what I'm all about right now, and getting that structure set up so that I can kind of push it out and be like, hey, look, this is how we do it, and then just let people do their thing. Because I already see people passionate about Aavegtochi. They're doing it basically just because it's so cool, and also they have an investment. So why not talk about your investment? We all talk our bag in cryptocurrency. That's like not a rare thing to see. And how can we figure out ways to reward that and grow that and growth hack from within the guild? But again, really just how do we bring in people that are coming into this that have never even heard about cryptocurrency, but are down to play a game where they can make some money? Like, how do we get to that?
Well, also, like, I think that a lot of it has been conceptual, and I think those two waves you spoke about, Han 1, Han 2, those are like ground floor level. Like, okay, I got this opportunity to jump in. That's how I looked at it, like, for Han 2, and that's how I think Master Yin and I both looked at it. It's like, all right, look, we missed Han 1, but we have Han 2. Like, let's go attack this. This is like, still kind of early. Like, let's get in this. And since then, there's been, obviously, like, I think like we had a, kind of like November DAO month, which is like we saw a lot of the DAOs like on the first land raffle, or the first, and second kind of land auction, rather. There was a bunch of DAOs that started positioning themselves and started to acquire gotchis and started to acquire parcels. So we had DAO kind of positioning, smart DAO money from other games like Axie Infinity started to position like October, November, December. So they've set themselves up and have started to slowly accumulate, in my opinion, resources, assets, and begin the learning process on how they want to, come into the game and like what's going to be their play. And the third wave, I think we're going to see is just like right before game starts to like, okay, the game's going to probably launch now. And that's going to come with a buildup of a lot of the test play videos that like, we now have some content that really shows you like, wow, this is no longer a concept. This is no longer just like going on the bazaar all day. This is like, okay, wow, here's my gotchi. Like, okay, like how does it interact in this world? Like what's the advantages, disadvantages? And like, now you're going to start seeing that content and from content creators, not just within 8-bit GG, but also like outside are going to produce content. And, now the rest of the NFT kind of ecosystem can start to see like, okay, whoa, this is like, first off, like if you come across an Aavegtochi video, it is like eye candy 5,000. The amount of colors and like things going on is like super cool. It catches my eye instantly, whether or not like, and I don't consider myself like that level of autism, like to where I can sit down and like play a game for like 12 hours like I used to when I was younger, but like it just looks really cool. Like watching, some of the gameplay that's been happening, even just like the testing going on. So I think that's going to naturally, or World Wide Web did, because World Wide Web was pretty sick. Like when you had to go get whitelisted and like kind of like play the game to get a whitelist spot, like that was really cool. And then you had the integrations with the different other games, like you could pull some of your characters into World Wide Web, and like what they did was really cool there. But I think like what Aavegtochi is on steroids in terms of like it just looks sick. And that's what I think is going to start to induce that FOMO, and that's what it's all about. Is like how much FOMO like is the build up to this game going to be? And depending on that level of FOMO, you're going to get that. I think that's when that third wave happens, probably Marchish, if I had to guess, like next month sometime. Or I mean, well, I guess technically next month is like in a day, but like what I mean is like March, going into April. Hopefully, the game launching sometime.
I think we lost Master.
Yeah, we lost him. Yeah, we lost him. I think we lost him as a speaker.
Yeah, he'll reconnect, but I thought what he was saying is really interesting there, how he was touching on in-person, or I think you were talking about the in-person aspect, and I think that's where some of these like evangelists and these mentors could really play an important role. Like you're laying the groundwork down right now for that, to get the mentors in, to get the evangelists in, get all the content creators, the developers, all the core people who are passionate about the project, to get them into the guild and participating in the guild. But those people are going to be instrumental in carrying out the idea of what Aavegtochi is, and then distilling it down, and then almost teaching people in real life around them about this. And I think that's what's going to create that network effect and that viral effect.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I say it all the time. Like, I'm probably one of the few people that's like, oh my God, thank God the game got delayed, because it's giving me more time to think about these ideas, get them organized, and get in place. Like, I have a phobia, and I'm sure anybody in this chat that has more than a couple of Aavegtochis probably should have the same phobia of day one getting here and my Gotchi's just sitting, right? Like, I mean, what could be worse than that? And so I got to do something about it. I don't know if I'm going to get them all rented. I mean, I think that we briefly touched on numbers. Right now, we just rounded over 200 Gotchis. We actually have about 150 parcels of land. We're about 300 items right now. So we're packing heavy bags, and I feel like it's going to require some new people that have never played Aavegtochi. And my pitch to them is going to be like, hey, do you want to make some money for a month just playing this game? And then I'm going to feed them into the guild and be like, all right, everybody, like, here's this new person. And, they might find someone they connect with better than me. I obviously can't scale to hundreds of people. And that's kind of like what it's about right now. And I don't think that we can make our assets as valuable alone than we can together. And I'm willing and able to let other people benefit from the investment. Like, I don't like my Gotchi, or a Gotchi being played, or a guild piece of land being harvested is way more valuable than someone playing than no one playing, right? Like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of having 150 parcels of land if like no one's gonna like play on them, right? So that's where it like hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, whoa. And then like up around the time, this whole like idea of guilds and the Gotchiverse and everything, and I was like, oh yeah, this is it. And let me tell you, it's a lot of proof of work. It just is. I mean, it's taken up more and more of my, in real life, and I really like it. So it's hard not to do it. You know what I mean? I really like what I do for my day job, but I really like this too, and they're kind of related, so it's kind of blurring now. And I'm already finding like all these really cool lessons in building an Aavegtochi guild that I'm already applying to my in real life stuff. So that's really cool. And if any of you want to see some of the Gotchis, there's about 150 of them listed right now at 8bitgg.com. It was laborious. Like, I'm not even going to pretend like it wasn't fun, because like, who the hell doesn't like to open portals and buy tons of Gotchis, right? But it was laborious. And I feel like I put a lot of thought into picking the Gotchis for the guild. I mean, they just weren't I didn't use like GenieBot, to just sweep the floor. This isn't just like a 10K PFP to me. I mean, anybody that knows and has been in these spaces with me knows that I love to speculate how Aavegtochis are going to play. And like, that's kind of like my thing. And I love imagining like why this Aavegtochi would be better for this situation or that situation. So there was a lot of thought put behind, and hopefully you'll find an Aavegtochi that suits every need. And I'm not done buying. I wanted to wait till some of the traits were released so I can fill in any holes that I have, but I really plan to have a good fleet of Aavegtochis for the guild to rent, because again, I think it's going to be very situational some of the times that you're going to need this Gotchi for that, or a Gotchi that shoots far, or, we actually, a big part of the guild that, and it's funny, it's a running joke in here, we always forget about the liquidators, right? But they're coming, and the free-to-play model is here, and like, it'll be here eventually, and that'll be a part of the whole guild mechanic. So maybe, we need to get 10, 15 people together to go fend off some liquidators, or go on a run to try to pick up some Alchemica on some spot, or this or that. And essentially being able to say, hey, Guildy, go grab, this Gotchi, or go grab that Gotchi, or like, hey, let's all stack on these Gotchis. I think that's going to matter.
I think you're so correct on that. Master Yan, go ahead, man. Glad you're back.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know where I left off before. I might have been talking to myself for like 10 minutes. Who knows?
Well, I actually got you made an interesting point about bringing people into the game from real life. I was just thinking right now, actually I Googled it. There's roughly 4 billion gamers on the planet. Like there's 4 billion people that play games. And we have the potential to bring those people into this space. And everybody in here probably knows, at least 3 or 4 people that are into like just traditional Web 2 gaming. So to bring those people in is not that far of a leap when you go, hey, look, I know you play Minecraft, like you're crazy into Minecraft, or I see you playing Clash of Clans on your phone and like you're really into it. Why not put some of your time into this Aavegtochi game and actually earn some money? And that could be like the pitch, right, for those people who don't necessarily know or care what a DAO is, really. They want to, they just want to play something fun. And if you sweeten the deal by saying, hey, look, you can actually earn some money, that makes things a lot more appealing.
Yeah, and there's different. Can you guys hear me?
You're cutting out just a little bit.
All right, sorry about that. And there's going to be different skills, like skill levels for different players. I don't know what everybody's viewpoint is on different types of players that may be not traditional, but I mean, this game is going to be pretty much open to anybody. You could be in a second, third world country playing it, but you could be like a 10-year-old playing this game for all we know. Anybody that has the ability to like create a MetaMask or whatever, go onto Polygon and jump into this game. There's going to be I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I mean, the other day I was in a Twitter Spaces, and there was like, I swear to God, it was like a 10-year-old that showed up and just started talking and hanging out, and we're like a bunch of 20, 30, I think probably even some 40-year-olds in this Twitter Spaces, and this kid came up, a 10-year-old, as a speaker, and this kid's flipping PFPs, and he made like 30 grand in the last week, and you're just like, it just had me really just kind of like blown away, like kind of like, what the hell's going on? Like, what timeline am I living in? And you're going to have that happen in this game. And that's, again, goes back to the importance of having certain guilds be able to Sherpa, cultivate, nurture that talent. And that talent could be, somebody who's already a programmer. That talent could also be, a young kid that's just like, hey, I'm trying to make it on the internet, make a little bit of money, but have fun in doing so. And maybe I do want to, build a D app or a mini game for Aavegtochi. I wish that somebody could help lead the way in that. Like, how can I get started? And then, that's where, we have that community come in and the resources, et cetera. And like, how can we enable this person to get involved and go from there. So I think that it's going to be all walks of life from, in real life coming into this. And, they're all going to find the community that works for them. Some just want to come in, make money, leave. Some are going to want to stick around, make friends. And then others are going to want to build. Some are going to want to invest, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's just like, we really don't know how big this game's going to be. And so far, it looks like we're knocking it out. I mean, for one, I think the token Ghost is literally like just one of the most blue chip tokens or currencies like in this ecosystem. What it did for my portfolio through this kind of just massive drawdown of 50, 60% bloodbath that many people experienced, and the Ghost token just kind of like pretty much was really resilient through all that. I think that was huge, and it was also huge for this game. It could have really wiped a lot of players out, and it hurt a lot of the adoption of this game. But because of the bonding curve and how the mechanics of this token work, it was just, I think that this game's very special. I think that Pixelcraft, Coder Dan, all those guys really thought deeply about the mechanics of this game and how can we make a game that's going to stick around for decades. And I just don't think they have to do a lot to screw it up, I think. So we'll see what happens.
Well, this brings up another point, what you were talking about on onboarding people in other countries, that there's almost no way they can afford a Gotchi. And while there is the rental model, one thing that this universe is going to need, or Gotchiverse, I mean, if you're like any other large web space, they're going to need, and this is pun intended, ghost work. And the name fits perfectly here, I think. There's going to be things like whether they give them I don't know what you'd want to call it, but a Gotchi worker ghost. And the idea is that they can be used for some of the underpinning to see that, is there an error in this space? There seems to be a war going on among Gotchis and liquidators, say, or any other type of thing like that. Can you tell us if you're seeing glitch outs, or can you tell us how the server is balanced on this area. And they would earn Ghost, just like our own Gotchis on Rarity season earn Ghost.
Yeah, that's actually like you just sparked a little thing in my brain too. It's like depending on like how robust the economy and how many people hang out in the Gotchiverse that are from other places. What you're kind of talking is like a mechanical Turk for Aavegtochi, you know? Like,
oh, absolutely. No world like that. I mean, if you're on any of the MMORPGs like World of Warcraft and some of those others, there's just not like 10 guys sitting behind the scenes. You know, they don't tell you that they've got an army behind there and they're like, go over to Sector 3. Is it glitching out? Is there a network issue on this server? Just look here and let us know. Or can you see what, you know, more than what a simple algorithm will do? You know, that extends everywhere.
That is very
interesting. Maybe they can work up to their own Gotchi. I mean, so, you know, just like when you trade something in, they're like, you want cash or do you want credit? And it's kind of like, well, you're earning Ghost for your sort of Gotchi worker account. And just like we have Gotchis that have wallets, they would have the same. And it would earn. And it's like, no, the Gotchi's earning money, but not that person. So tax-wise, that may be more fortuitous to them. Plus, they could choose to eventually use some of that to buy an actual Gotchi and join everyone in. Because, I mean, 700 Ghosts or $1,400, I mean, a lot of places, that's ludicrous money. To think you could spend it to get even the lowest level Gotchi. And rent, maybe, but I think a whole gaming universe, like the Gotchiverse, with, you know, when we do demos, if you were there on the demo we had the other day, you know, they were fighting the servers constantly. You know, London's down, you'd see someone respond, oh, US is down, and, you know, things were popping in and out. I think they'll learn that eventually, if they want to be decentralized, they will need a way to organize some of that, you know, pick up your task, go do it.
A huge business model for the whole space because, like somebody is going to need to give feedback on what's going on in these metaverses. And
it needs more than what a computer could diagnose.
That's right.
You know, you can't just write something that if then, and, you know, it will tell you, well, what's actually going on or what it looks like is, you know, there's an errant ghost with a bad code that seems to be spreading over here. You know, it can't even say that. It can just alert them stuff's happening.
100% human eyes, and then you have all these different clients and all over the world, and I could totally see like that's really cool, and like thanks for that, because you know that inspired a bunch of crazy connections in my mind. Not that I needed any more nonsense in there to distract me from the goals that I have before me.
Yeah, well, we want, you know, there's like Axie, and that's got its own problems that, you know, you've heard Dan and others speak about, where I agree, people could earn play to earn, but play to earn at a certain point gets a little soulless if you're not, you know, if that's all there is, like put food on the table or else. And if you could turn it into ghost work where it's like, no, I helped keep the server up today. You know, I wasn't just going through the paces. You know, I helped keep the Gotchiverse up. I helped 3 people get their stuff back.
You can take it even further, and like while that's a service to Pixelcraft, there may be DAOs and people that want to know things that are going on in the Gotchiverse in different places at different times for strategic advantage potentially, right? In a really complex situation, but you might want to have like people spread out, like, and people maybe would pay for information like that. That's what's nuts.
Yeah, it could be infinite, but the task is rather than just go run around collecting Alchemica, you could do other tasks for keeping the whole system up. And, you know, in that sense, it's not brainless. You're not just, you know, go here, swipe, you know, just keep doing that. You're actually trying to ferret out problems or look for issues and bring them like a bounty and stuff like that. And the person could play, like, I play an hour of this and get 2 ghosts or something like that. And then eventually I'll have enough to buy a Gotchi. And then I'm joining in and collecting. And when they get to do it on their own, I'm not working for someone. I've got my own now. Then you'll probably see their interest spike at that point because now they own it, like owning their own little business.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. Lots of different ways to earn in the Gotchiverse, and some that, you know, like Master Yun was saying, like you've just mentioned, there's some that will reveal themselves over time as we start to immerse ourselves in that universe, like you say. Yeah, I think that's really, really cool. I just saw, I think Charles is up here. He's your new face. Feel free to introduce yourself or just say hi. I've noticed you've been up here for a little while. So, but yeah, this has been, a really good conversation around kind of like what your guild is accomplishing, but also how these guilds forming in the Gotchiverse that are not, that are native Aavegtochi guilds, we can all be models for each other, right? Like I think we have, like at least a few other guilds in here right now listening into this. So, this is really good learning content for if you are, building your own guild. And I think it's important at this stage for all the guilds to be kind of sharing ideas with each other because it's only going to improve the player experience once we get this third wave of people coming in here. And I think we can all help each other prepare. I don't think there's a sense of competitiveness among guilds right now at this point because we are so small. Like, there's no need to compete with like, a few hundred other people right now at this point. But it is, I think the greater value right now is being able to work together with other guilds. Yeah, and actually the other point that I wanted to touch on is what you had mentioned a little while ago about having so many different gotchis and selecting them very carefully because I think those battle mechanics will also make a big difference when we have these great battles. And I think that's something a lot of people, well, maybe some people have, but I know I personally haven't put a lot of thought into that yet. But I think that's going to be really important for the great battles to have a specialized team of Aavegotchis and have the right Aavegotchis in place to do the right thing,
Yeah, I mean, I would say even go a little bit further, and I think that there's going to be phases to this. I think certain gotchis are going to excel in the earlier part of the game because it's mostly going to be a citadel, peaceful farming game. So just little things to pay attention to. I think that it's going to be interesting because you'll see pricing on gotchi maybe reflect what state we're in the game and, meta that's being figured out. And I mean, like, the team just threw me for a huge curveball because, again, everything we do is kind of speculation until the solid information comes out, and then that's reality, right? So, I had speculated for a long time that necessarily being on left or right side of the bell curve wouldn't necessarily negatively affect the other trait. But now we know for sure that'll be the case, right? And so that's kind of changed my perspective on like how I'm selecting gotchis and whatnot. And it's a deep game and it's a lot of fun and it's really intellectually, stimulating. So it's having a guild and being part of like a crew. You're going to want it because you're going to want to talk to people about it. So it's like if you don't join Aavegtochi, go over to the Portal Mages and check that out. And, any of the other awesome guilds that kind of have their own thing going. I mean, like we're going to do what our best and what we think guild should be. I'm super envious of the whole look and feel of the Portal Mages. It just feels like such a Aavegtochi guild and everybody's going to kind of have their little thing and be good at this and be good at that. And I personally plan to join other guilds as well because there will be moments of collaboration and there'll be moments for competition and everything in between. And I think ultimately we all want the game to be worth more. We all want to help other people come into P2E, make a living, make money. We all want to see a return on our investment. And I think that we also bought into this, hey, we want to have a social space to hang out and do these things and talk about these things and, share, these stories. And I hope that they don't go too off the deep end on not relying on some of the tools that are already really good at what they do. I think a lot of this game will probably be run through Discord communication-wise, even though I could see them trying to launch their own comms. But us being able to collaborate and communicate is going to be key. And being able to do that in the Gotchiverse is next level. I mean, I can only imagine like having this spaces like, maybe on the Aavegtochi parcels, I kind of took a risk, but I secured massive lots of spaces that were connected. Not all of the portfolio, but I mean, we have some, like, for example, in District 12, the guild has a corner that's literally 8 spacious by 2 spacious, right? So it's like that whole corner. So it'd be super dope to be able to have like parties on the land. I mean, I've we've joked about applications and even, me and Hefe found each other on the same page even accidentally about like, having DJ apps and, the way, a way to kind of have get-togethers and parties in Aavegtochi and share art and share investment ideas potentially, right? I have to say the cliche, this is not investment advice, but, a lot of the thing that is these NFTs that is propelling them is this aspect of being in a club with people and learning from them and learning from each other and possibly, setting out on endeavors together to making them a success. Like, again, like when you have a couple hundred or a couple thousand people going into anything, you can change some things.
Absolutely. I was speaking to one of our Gotchi luminaries, one of the, high ups the other day, and I said, it struck me strange. I wondered what on earth is the point of low tier BRS gotchis. And then it hit me that for every one of them you own, they all receive XP in these XP events, except for gaming. But voting, Discord, and then if you do play all the games, you have the potential to get some XP. So I was talking to him and I said, wait, am I just dumb? Is this like an emergent strategy that you guys use to gather up XP and then sacrifice on a regular basis to pull, XP into your best characters? Because some of them talk about, I have 100 Gotchi, and you look over and you're like, they're not all that good. I'm not sure what the strategy is there. And the person did tell me, he was like, that is one verifiable strategy, So the fact that there's some emergent strategy like that, where at the low end, there's people looking for cheap Gotchi to add into their pile so that XP comes in to each and every Gotchi in their pool, every single event like that. And then you take, 100 Gotchi and you do one event. Wow, you have 500 XP that just came in. While we look at it and just say, hey, I got 5 or 10, over a couple. That's great. And they're looking at it and going, well, we bought a bunch of low-tier 400 BRS, but we got, 500 or 1,000 XP in that one event. And as certain ones build up, they could certainly harvest them to build up their character for rarity events. I just thought I'd drop a little bit of alpha there.
Yeah, also, not to change the subject too much, but kind of speaking to what you were saying, Hefe, about guilds collaborating and so forth, and the competition's not there yet. And I believe that, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that it's important. I think that, eventually there will be competition between some guilds and some DAOs, and obviously players as well. But I think that, guilds should, whether we find ourselves like becoming more and more competitive or not, find different ways to collaborate to push the game forward. And I really like kind of like GMI, or I think it's Gotchi Media Incorporated, or Industries, or forgive me guys if I'm getting the name wrong, but it would be great to find independent liaisons that like kind of connect the guilds to be able to find ways to, hey, how can we further content across out into the NFT ecosystem. And maybe all the guilds are pitching in to this one independent association that is furthering all of our like common interests outside of the game, and also inside the game. So we're gonna find ways where we don't align, but definitely the ones that we do, like how can we, like this is great, for all of us, rising tides lift all boats. So how can we put together like, kind of like associations to do the hard work where we can dedicate resources from all of our different guilds and different kind of institutions and DAOs and so forth that are in the game to, not only, maintain the ecosystem, but also push the narratives we want, push the marketing kind of like content that we want, et cetera, and fund individual content producers that maybe don't have a specific guild affiliation or whatnot, but, like just there's going to be plenty of independent players and people and influencers coming into the space. Guilds can get together and we can like fund these people. We can fund, different ideas and even games that will benefit all of us together. So I really liked what you said, Hefe, and I think that like, that got me thinking a little bit more about like, okay, yeah, like, we need like kind of a unified voice on certain things that we are aligned with between guilds and DAOs.
It's funny because that's kind of what I was alluding to, and maybe I'll just touch on GMI real quick. Gotchiverse Media International. It's a group of like-minded individuals. Some of us have been around in the space for a little while, in the Gotchi space, and basically we want to be a megaphone for the collective guilds. And I think you bring up a great point there about collaborating with multiple guilds to create these projects that will further everybody's interests in the game. Whether you're one guild doing a specific thing or like you're a guild of content creators, we still want to be a collective voice for all the guilds and kind of be able to have these guilds connect and collaborate on projects. And the real value of this will become apparent over time as we see a need for this, right? As these guilds become larger and larger and larger, as some alliances form and some maybe enemies form, but still be able to have this channel of communication across everybody and be able to push content out to funnel people in into these guilds. Even if a guild is having a specific event, reach out to GMI. There's a ton of talented people in there. There's artists, there's creators, there's people creating Gotchi lore. It's just all different kinds of people creating stuff. So it's a great resource to draw on for anybody in here who isn't a guild or is thinking about starting a guild. Definitely reach out to GMI if you do need any sort of things along that line. But I think that's a great point with the collaboration. I think it'll be really important. But this has been a really great conversation, a deep dive into 8-Bit GG. Is there anything else you want to finish off with around this? And then I kind of want to talk about the raffle for a little bit too after and see what our winnings were.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, 8-Bit Gamers Guild, for those of you who came in late or whatever, we are a native Aavegtochi from the ground up gaming guild, and we are looking to bring together like-minded individuals, players, builders in the space that want to learn from each other, that want to hang out, just have a good time. Doesn't need to be a lot of pressure. We really want quality over quantity. We want great content producers, etc. Whatever your skill set is, jump into the 8-Bit Gamers Guild Discord. Just hang out. It's still slow-moving ground floor right now. We're working out a lot of different things. So this is a more or less small guild still to come get involved with, and you don't have to be too afraid or timid or feel like it's too beyond kind of that beginning phase. It's really, really early still, and we just want to meet people who are interested in just hanging out and who really, really are looking forward to this game dropping, and who want to make a huge impact on that game in their own way. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to nurture you if we possible, and we'd love you to be part of our guild. If not, we'd love to find ways we can form alliances between each other. So reach out to me or Master Yang, and just get involved. And if you think that you have something that you'd love to bring to our attention, or you'd love us to be an alliance or a member of your guild, please let us know. We'd love to find ways to collaborate and so forth. I think that we need to get into that spirit and that mode. It only benefits all of us. So I'll just kind of end with that.
I'll say just well said. I'll also add that we initially started as a guild of developers. So there's a lot of technical competency in the guild. We have one of the game makers, Alvi, that's in the guild. I work with a lot of these devs, and we've been building stuff in the blockchain space for almost a decade now. And there's plenty of that there. Obviously, it evolved into something bigger, but that core is still there for those of you in the chat that need technical assistance, just need a programmer to throw ideas off. I got the guys for you. I love to talk. I can code, but I spend most of my time around thinking about products and strategy and, kind of how to bring and manifest that raw coding talent. And that's, so good at those kinds of things and making something that's palatable and usable and that everybody else wants to use and enjoys using. And then I'll even go as far as to say is anybody that has a game or is a dev that just has been doing this on this spare time, we are pretty seriously at the point of funding developers just to work solely on Aavegtochi. So at least say hello. I can't promise you a crazy salary or anything full-time or anything like that, but if you got some chops, we can certainly work on a project basis. Because we do have, and we didn't speak about it much in this conference, but we do have a greater vision about building on Aavegtochi and building games and services on Aavegtochi. And that's always been at the core, but we quickly realized we have to be something bigger and more palatable and just more inclusive. And you guys have kind of heard, our spiel today, and hope to talk to a bunch of you.
That's awesome, guys. That's awesome. And yeah, we'll see that inflow of players in the next couple months, But with all that being said, I'd really like to just spend a little bit of time, 10, 15 minutes. I want to get into this raffle, this last raffle that happened. I know No Future, this was a big event. This was something you went in really heavy on. I'd really like to hear just a quick, if you can, kind of how that went for you, and maybe share some stuff with us. Share your experience with us. I'd really like to hear that.
It turned out well for me. I ended up winning, I forget the exact number, but I think it was 82 common items, 40 or 42 uncommon, 14 rare, and 2 legendary. So every estimate based on, looking at the Ghost.gg projections, I beat every single category in terms of wins except for the legendary because Master Yin and Yang got all my freaking butterflies. So I'm still, it worked out well. If I saw everything at floor, I could double my money. I have sold a few things, and I've worked out some OTC trades because I'm trying to get enough ghosts to buy a sus butterfly. But I'm like a little less than halfway there. So I've been begging people in the Bizarre chat channel to like work out a trade with me, but no one wants my old school wearables, like my witchy cloak or like a spacious parcel, something. Like I want to get this stupid butterfly, but I can't get it. So for me, ultimately, it went really well, and I can't complain. I think I'm going to start accumulating tickets again as soon as I get more liquidity because the prices have like corrected back down to where they were when I first started buying tickets at the beginning of the raffle. I know there's no wearable raffle anywhere on the horizon, like for a while at least, but might as well get them. Also, potentially, some people in the Discord main chat server were talking about the potential of putting up a proposal for not Haunt 3, but like Haunt 2.1, where maybe we do 1,000 or 2,000 AM Ghost gotchis so that we have some in circulation. So, it might be a good idea to get some drop tickets because they'll go for that. You're going to need them anyway for the land raffle, but I'm looking forward to the next raffle. It's going to be good.
I think those would go for a lot, like in a GMB. Like 1,000 or 2,000 gotchis, I think a lot of people would be fighting over those.
Yeah, I agree. I was telling the people who were discussing it, I was like, as long as we do like an analysis of the current, there's like something like 17 or 18,000 gotchis that have been summoned, and like 600 of them have been murdered. So we're close to like 19,000, I believe, gotchis that have come out of portals. So whatever the breakdown is amongst the collaterals, as long as we don't like overshoot it or undershoot it too much, so that we create this like crazy demand because there's just not enough of these, and as long as we don't like overinflate the number of gotchis in existence, I think that would be really cool to do. And it'll be very expensive.
I'm game. I mean, I always want more gotchis, so a ghost gotchi, that's pretty dope.
I can't believe 600 gotchis have been killed. Like it makes sense with what Structured Alpha was saying earlier about the harvesting XP, but 600 gotchis, man,
I'm guilty and I regret it every day.
I haven't done
Well, now you know that that's a validated strategy. I mean, in the sense that you're like, well, if that were true, structured, there'd be a lot of dead gotchis. Someone's like, guys, there's 600 dead gotchis. Like, oh.
Yeah, the supply of like 25,000, that's a big number. It's like not insignificant.
I mean, you wonder if it can pay for itself because...
I mean, I regret it because, I mean, I think that it was in my earlier days and not understanding like the layout of gotchis, but I would have rather had the gotchi right now for sure, especially with the prices and stuff and like what I got out of like boosting that level and where it put me. I think it put me like... for sure, like I think top 50 on XP, maybe top 20, but like it just wasn't like worth it in the end. I was like, I just want the gotchi back.
Well, it's 25,000.
I agree.
Too, it's 25,000 too. Like total portals. Not all of them are opened either.
That's right. So it's like 600 out of like 17, 18,000, maybe 19,000 gotchis.
I'll say the number. I'm looking at not Ghost.gg, but Aavegtochi stats. But for some reason, it's showing up as 0 portal, like 0 sacrifice for H1 and H2. So that's probably like a glitch. But the last time I checked,
it might be off the graph.
But I'll say, going forward, I don't think I'm going to be considering sacrificing gotchis because with the ambassadors program, if I like max out, like for this month, if I max out my rewards, I'm going to be top 100 in XP if I give all the XP to one gotchi. So within 2 to 3 months, I'm going to be top 20 in XP. So I don't have to kill any gotchis anymore if I just keep hustling and making videos.
Yeah, man, that's a smart incentive for sure. What do y'all think about like the weapons in the wearables? Like, are you happy with that? Like now that we kind of see some teasing about the traits, like it kind of makes a little bit more sense to me. Like the way that there's like 4, I think there's like, well, I'm not going to include the katana because I mean, that's not really fair to talk about that here. I don't have one. Does anybody in here have one?
Hey, if anybody in here right now has the godlike katana or any godlike items, you need to get up here right now and share your story. I know there's one guy that wanted, 21 tickets. He wanted katana.
That's life changing.
Unbelievable.
Someone go and invite Mark Zeller over here.
Yeah, he won the bodysuit, I think. But what's amazing is like I'm a fan of the Gotchi Vault, but I love that like kind of they didn't get wrecked, but they didn't do as well as we thought they would do because they're such a big player, which is like shows the power of the VRF. They did well. They exceeded their return, but for godlikes or mythicals, I think that they landed short. From the post that they put up in the Gotchi Vault thing today. So at least it shows that the VRF gods are fair gods. It's not just based on, being a whale. Like Mark didn't win the katana. He put in, 30 grand of Ghost worth of tickets and he still didn't win the katana. So it's like, that's one of the big things because I see people sometimes complaining about it's a whale game in the raffle, but you only need 1 ticket or 20 and you have a chance to win life-changing money. That's insane.
That's right. And like, there's the proof right there, right?
Yeah.
What? Let me see. What's 20 godlikes? Probably out of average, that would have been like 1,000 ghosts.
I think this person minted them with Frens, so they didn't even buy the tickets.
Even better.
God.
But let's
Come
say
on.
like, hey, 1,000 ghosts of value to like 50, 60,000 ghosts plus a value, maybe more. I think I saw them going for things going for like armor going for 63. Katanas, did anyone even sell any of them?
I think Mark bought one, so Mark Zeller.
Yeah, I think I saw today he put together the first full samurai suit today. So, yeah, from head to toe, he's dripped out.
Yeah, wait
That's
till he gets
serious
the
spirit.
set bonus. He gets that set bonus. He's gonna. I think he already is top 10 in the leaderboard for BRS, but I'll definitely move him up if there's a set bonus.
I wonder how that's going to translate into the Gotchi verse. Like you know what I mean? Like, how's he going to play in the Gotchi verse? Like that's super intriguing to me because I think that takes a whole nother dimension to wearables. If like this guy is literally godlike in the Gotchi verse, like just has like that much more fun, just like slashing, things down. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I just wanted to pipe in real fast. It was my little brother in real life that won the katana, and which is fucking awesome, right? I always root for my brother, but
Wow.
I run the Gotchi Vault.
Congrats.
Awesome for him. But yeah, I run the Gotchi Vault strategy and what we did as the vault, and then my own strategy, entering 30 million tickets, and I got completely wrecked in the raffle. And the vault didn't do great, and my brother just like threw in a couple godlikes and just destroyed me. So like No Futuristic was saying, I think the raffle is such an awesome balance to NFT distribution to go alongside the GBM auctions. And having those two together really ensures ongoing fair NFT distribution and opportunity for the community at all levels. And anyways, we're going to Iceland in a quick trip, and he paid off his loans and is paying off his home because he won a pixelated
That's
sword.
awesome.
So we're excited.
Yeah.
That's
That's
freaking
amazing.
crazy. That's
I was
awesome.
Yeah,
gonna
man.
ask, does it make it like your family dinner, like the first family dinner after that raffle? Was it like weird because he's just sitting there like like a Chad, just like yeah.
I know, because I was I was going to join in on the hangout for the raffle reveal, and I had my brother on the other screen, and we were like opening with each other, and then I saw that he got the katana, and I was like, oh well, fuck the hangout, I'm out to help him celebrate this katana win. But I'm a little
How much
jealous.
younger is your brother?
What a moment, dude! Congrats, dude. What a
How much
family
younger-
moment.
How much younger is your brother than you?
Yeah, 4 years younger, and I have three little brothers, and I gave them each 1,000 ghost this past summer to like learn about the game and finance and economy and like grow it together. And we partnered together on GBM auctions and everything, and he's grown his 1,000 ghost to almost $200,000, almost 90K.
Wow.
Yeah, like since this summer. Most of that's the katana, but not all of it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's cool as heck.
So was there any ticket category you guys went in heavy on that you're like, man, this is almost a sure thing, and then it just, I know, Wagme, you were saying like overall, not the results you expected, and No Future, you didn't get the sus butterfly. Were those the categories you kind of went heavy in? Was there a specific category?
Well, for
Yeah,
me,
go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Dr. Wagby.
Well, I was just gonna say, I went pretty heavy in mythicals. I had around 1,300 tickets, and I won only 2 mythicals. So like the first percentile, like there's a 99% chance I would have won more than that, and I didn't. So that alone cost me, but I still ended up with around 600 wearables total, and I'm working with a couple of guilds to source them their guild insignia, and that was the main goal of obtaining all those commons.
For
That's
me,
smart.
I put
Makes
in
sense.
543 legendary tickets, so it was looking like I would win 2 to 3, 2.77 according to Ghost.gg. Legendary wearables. Rares, I did the best in because I won 14 and I was only projected to win 8. I would have been fine with the legendaries if I had won 1 or 2 sus butterflies, but I mean, I'm still happy with it. I got 2 dope legendaries, and I picked up a third one that I thought was underpriced. It was listed really low on the bazaar. Like one of the fairy wings was listed for like 620 ghosts last night, so I picked it up before anybody else did, which is why I don't have the liquidity to get the stupid sus butterfly.
Yeah, for us, everything was pretty close to par. We were supposed to get like 1 mythical. We ended up with none, but that got stacked towards the end, and I didn't really feel like chasing it because really the goal for us was to get as many items as possible. But it's hard to stay away from the allure of like the mythical and the godlike because I mean, just that story is crazy. Dr. Wagme, I mean, he could he could sell that, buy gotchis, buy tons of wearables. Like that's a serious score, right? And so I was hoping like, hey, grab a mythical, roll a bit on a godlike. If I get 1 mythical, sell it, get more other items. Because what I do regret is not buying more tickets. I would have liked to go a little heavier, but I'm hoping I can make up for that in the secondary by sweeping some floors. But we were pretty on par, except we did fairly well in legendary. I think we played 790 tickets or 690, either 690 or 790, but we were projected for like 3 point something, and we ended up with 5, and 4 of them were sus butterflies. So that was kind of like really special and kind of like brought a great feeling. But we also got a little bit whipped up on the uncommons. We were a bit below par there because I felt that got stacked towards the end, and that was somewhere where I'm sorry, the commons. That's somewhere where I wanted to hit a little bit harder. I would have liked more common items, but we got no complaints. Especially all the ghosts was state. I mean, all that was from Frens, rather, from state ghosts. So we didn't really put any ghost in. I think maybe the very beginning I bought maybe like 2,000 or 3,000 common tickets when it was really low. But a lot of our ghosts has just been pledged to continuing to acquire gotchis.
I wonder how the future raffles are going to pan out. Now we have the vault staking, we have larger guilds coming in, we have larger DAOs coming in staking their ghost. Do you guys feel like the future raffles might be a little bit different in the way they pan out compared to this last one?
Well, speaking from the vault, I definitely think there'll be some change, and we're going to be selling some small amount of tickets every day, like just an amount of our accumulated friends to give some consistent return to VGhost holders. So it'll be interesting to see what the ticket market does, but I think for smart people that want to accumulate tickets while they're cheap, there'll be a steady flow going in. So I think that you'll just need to plan a little differently and acquire tickets like pretty early. So no futuristic smart by trying to snack some now. But I do want to let the crew know we are planning to enter the raffles and really invest in the NFT ecosystem and not simply just sell all the tickets we can to maximize profits. And that's what we did. We had a 70-30 entry in the raffle this past one, and I hope to continue a really aggressive entry point to raise the floors of both the NFTs themselves that are one, ghost value, all of it.
Yeah, I'll say that I'm now 2 for 2 on good raffles, so I'm very emboldened to go even heavier on the next raffle, just to keep 2022 has been pretty lucky so far. So I mean the last 2 years have been pretty lucky for me, but so it's I'm probably at some point in the near future after I get my cool pet, I will probably sell my cool cat, which should give me 40 grand of funds, and I'm probably gonna go do something crazier than I did this time, and hopefully don't get wrecked. But we're gonna find out one way or the other because it's gonna be live streamed.
Dude, I've been watching you for the sidelines for months, dude. Keep going.
Yeah,
and you're doing it out in the open, and that's really awesome because so many people, it's a learning experience for anybody that's even getting into this space. You're very transparent about it, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think when people can see other people's success, it's a hit or miss thing for me because I have on Instagram I talk about my Gotchi stuff, but the people I know they're like, oh, stop bragging about what you're doing. And I'm like, this isn't me bragging. I'm trying to tell you get in. Do you see what I'm doing? I've been yelling this shit to you since April. I've already 10x, more than 10x on this stuff. It's still early. Get in, but they're just being stupid. So Twitter, it's a little more friendly because people actually want to learn about it.
I know the pain, and actually I think that's a great point overall for content is we will have to tell these stories one day. We will have to tell the story of Dr. Wagme's brother and your story, and we have to make it palatable so people aren't, disgusted by it and rather understand that this was not, it was by chance, but it was also by, being in the right place and having opportunity and making opportunity for yourself by learning and getting into this ecosystem and taking risks. So it's it's well-deserved reward in my opinion, right? So telling those stories that will get people in ultimately. I mean, with the Bored Apes and a lot of this stuff, I hate to say it, but people like to see success and they're attracted to success. And so I don't think, that's just, I've been through that for a decade in cryptocurrency and yelling from the rooftops. Eventually you just get tired. And then what you realize is that the ones that really deserve to hear it, they'll come around. And I think that, we just got to keep building.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think the Bearded Lady is such an interested case study because people now seeing his success, they talked about him like he's a whale. Oh, he's a whale. It's a bad thing. It's dude started out with very little capital and flipped up to being a whale. If you can't respect that hustle, then you're not doing it right. Because the idea is that we should be standing on the shoulders of giants. That's how you learn. You see the experience that other people have, people who have done it correctly. You shouldn't be angry at them. You shouldn't you should want to emulate it and then innovate on what they've already done. So I would love Bearded needs to write a book about the last 8 months or year for him in the Gotchi game because I would want to read it 5 times because he's doing everything right.
Right. Yeah, I think honestly it's kind of a combination between presentation and also knowing your audience because obviously some people just see this kind of stuff and instantly try to point out the bad thing because if they see something super positive they want to try to pick out the flaws and be the quote unquote winner of the conversation or whatever. But yeah, especially having those stories and just like Wagner was saying with the raffles being a very fair distribution model just like GBM is I put all of my raffle tickets into rares simply because that was the main set that I was wanting to get. And based on the I can't remember which one it was, whoever put up the probability calculator that had the distribution curve, it was right on the money for it. I put in just under 1,000 rare tickets and it was right at 6, which was exactly what it was estimated. I think it said 5 to 7, so it was right on par.
Yeah, that's awesome. The statistical tools have really kind of changed the game from the first couple raffles that we had. I think the Ghost GG calculator was the first one, and that one came out around raffle 3 or 4, I think. So before that, you just kind of had to dump your tickets in and just wish that you hope that you get something. And now it's kind of good to have these statistical tools so we can size our bets, because really what it is a bet. It's you're making a bet that you'll get these items, and then there's a certain percentage chance that it won't work out. So I like looking at it that way, and I'm very grateful for the people who built these tools for us. Yeah, but actually, on that note, we've covered the 8-Bit GG Guild. It was a pleasure to have you guys on here. I really like hearing all your little raffle stories. I didn't know that was your little brother, Dr. Wagme. That's congratulations. That's awesome. And is there anything you guys want to finish off on before we end here tonight? Do you have any announcements this week or anything going on we should look out for?
I'm gonna probably do some more streams this week and/or videos about like the new mini game and other things, because I feel like we're getting a Gotchi verse Bible chapter hopefully tomorrow or the day after. I'm gonna in the Discord. I've been putting my ghost.gg like warehouse link. So if you have a sus butterfly and you're willing to part with said butterfly, hit me up. I'm open to deals. I will trade. I have a spacious parcel I'd be willing to throw in with some ghosts. I have over almost 40 parcels at this point, a whole bunch of other wearables. I have some gotchis that I've pumped up on XP and kinship. I need this damn butterfly in my life, and until I can get the liquidity to just outright buy it, I'm trying to trade. So let me know, friends.
Yeah, there's folks should know also, and I'm trying to look it up to see if it was fixed, but the pinball XP game was not recording high scores this afternoon. So
yeah, that was actually the case since last night too. I think I hit them up about it. They said they were going to check it out, but I don't know if there's been any updates since.
Yeah, I mean, you saw a lot of people say, "Oh my gosh, I finally got 1 million or something," and then come to the main score leaderboard and go, "What?" I was like, "Ooh, that's got to be painful."
I would just say we will probably be for sure at some point this week opening up portals. We've been kind of doing it regularly, and it's a fun thing. If you've never opened a portal, just come check it out. We sit around and we talk about the Gotchi, and I think it'll be more fun this week, especially with like the maybe we get permanent solid info on the traits, not just the teaser, because I think it was supposed to happen before the end of January, so that's pretty much tomorrow. So like hopefully we get some cool information from the team tomorrow. But yeah, come open portals with us. It's really exciting, especially when you score something good.
And I got a little bit of alpha to drop I'm excited about. There'll be a press announcement this week from CGU, Crypto Gaming United, but they're formally partnering with the Vault, and they have deposited their 100 or 150 so gotchis. And we are initiating a training program to roll out 6,000 players to start playing with 1,000 gotchis that we have set aside for them in the Vault when the Gotchiverse goes live and lending function is live. So there will be at least, hopefully, 6,000 players ready to be roaming around collecting Alchemica from day one. And we're pretty pumped about that, and working with some other big guilds to make sure that they have access to NFTs to get all these really anxious players who want to join the play-to-earn world. So this is really just the beginning, guys. It's exciting.
That's where that collaboration aspect comes in. So, I'm sure there'll be a lot of other guilds that'll be working with you guys and also getting their own players. It's actually quite useful, quite helpful to have a lot of these larger guilds in here who already have player bases built up that are willing to jump right in. They understand play-to-earn gaming. So I'm really excited for that. Thank you for sharing that. But yeah,
We'll see what else builds out with the Gotchi Vault. I meant to chime in at one point, but I've got a couple of mine in there now too. So yeah,
go ahead.
See what you guys do.
Oh yeah. Did you have any announcements? Is that what you're saying? Or?
Oh no, I just meant that I hadn't made anything public saying that I had put any of my gotchis in, but some of the gotchis from Avid have been put into the vault now too.
Oh, nice. The moment of truth for me was when I saw Machine Elf and all the Aavegtochi astronauts going in there. I'm like, I gotta go hang out. My gotchis gotta go hang out with those.
Oh, just quickly, one last thing. I'm still in talks with Dr. Wagme and Bearded, but at some point this week, I'm probably going to interview both of them about the raffle and how the Gotchi Vault did. So keep an eye out for that. I'll probably post that after they post whatever documents they put up discussing, the debrief of their raffle.
Awesome. That'll be good. I look forward to that, getting into the deep dive. Thank you, everyone who came out here tonight. I really appreciate it. Was it Brills? Your PFP's looking sick, man. I think Ben Lagan did that. And definitely reach out to Ben Lagan if you want a sick PFP. But yeah, everybody in here, thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for listening to 8-Bit GG. If you're interested in their guild, I recommend you head over to their Twitter page, and you should find everything you need on there. And then there's also 8bitgg.com, and then the Discord, right? I hope I got that right. But yeah, feel free to check it out. And we're actually going to be doing another Gotchi Space on Wednesday. It's going to be a little bit earlier. It's going to be 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. like noon time for Eastern. We'll be interviewing Blackpool. So Hazel Star from Blackpool is going to be joining us, and we'll be talking about their guild, what they've been doing, and get the word out for them too. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And yeah, again, thanks everyone tonight. This is Gotchi Space every Sunday night. And we'll see you again next week, friends.
Take it easy, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah.